No, just the meeting, just
Oh.
this morning.
I was gonna say, we have not started yet.
Good morning. Welcome to the regular session of the Board of Supervisors for December 23rd. Roll call, please. Michelle Walter.
Brant.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Kurtenbach.
Here.
Leyland.
Here.
Paul.
Here. Please join for a moment of silence to reflect on this morning's actions. And please stand if you're able to join for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1, agenda received as proposed or as amended.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Item 2, public comments. This is time for anyone either in the room or online to speak on an item that is not on this morning's agenda. Hearing none, we'll move to item 3, presentation from Michelle Wiedner for the Finance Department.
You switch.
Are you using the pocket?
Yeah. First I have to find it first. Open ones. We can enjoy Christmas theme while it's moving.
Yeah. Nice woodsy. Let the snow stay there in that picture.
I'm going to set a record for being short and sweet.
Should have had you on last week then.
Well.
I tried to, I was on for a while.
She was
till
actually.
till I couldn't. And I believe I was, and it's pretty bad when you have a funeral instead of 2 weeks. So we're starting out with our staff, Lori and Joe, they both are Christmas in the box, so. This year has been a really busy year. I think all your departments are telling me that, but strategic planning took a big commitment of time, I think, from all of us. Then we coordinate all the board office activities. The 26 budget, I feel like I don't do very many things, but the things we do take a lot. So I counted more than 20 meetings that we had last year on the budget. We prepare all the salaries and benefits projections for our good 400 employees. Worked on the 5-year capital improvement program, including how we can fund equipment purchases going into the future. And kept working on our fund balance spend down plan, which we can change, but just trying to get something started for that. Another huge time commitment for our department is working on the annual audit. This year, we prepared or assisted with probably more than 400 work papers or documents that went to the auditors. We are now doing all the capital assets tracking and work paper preparation in finance and most of the accounts receivable. In capital assets, this was a big year. Generally, we have a couple million in capital asset. This year it was more like 10. So all the ARPA things we've been doing was significant time investment. We also had to implement a new accounting standard for compensated absences. And it's kind of exciting that now 2 years in a row, this is the whole county staff, we had no real audit findings, so that's always an exciting accomplishment. At least for those of us who work in that field. So, other things we did this year, we changed up the community funding process, spent some time updating the application, created a scoring rubric, and then of course work on contract preparation and all the documentation to make payments. The opioid funding committee was started with, and Caitlin at Health and Ty also at Health and Colleen helped with that committee to develop an application for funds, again, another scoring rubric, contract template, and all those kind of things for the new applications. We also, in the board office, handle the liability of property insurance, all those claims. And I think that's the end of it. So short and sweet.
The opiate funding too, we'll just continue to use that unless somebody had a question or wanted to change anything, but did you as the committee think there was anything, did it work well?
I think we felt it did. It's probably more now what you are, if you liked it or not.
Oh.
We would take feedback with that.
I think the only brief feedback there, I think the funding rubrics are great. I say we set a deadline and what we've got is what we've got in. So if we're waiting on one board member, two board members, even three board members, we at least bring it to the board at that point. I think it can just help us sort of keep things moving along, both in the opioid and the community funding.
The opioid was a little easier because of the numbers
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
projects. When you
Yeah.
start to have 32, it was
Yeah.
like, but otherwise, I thought, yeah, it worked well.
But no, appreciate all your work from the whole department. It's been a good year.
Yeah, it has. I was gonna just comment, as Michelle was giving the last one, last week, Larry Murphy from UCC, from the coalition, was here to do their presentation and did theirs first. And, he contacted me after the meeting or a few days later, and I said, I'm glad he did, because I said, sorry, I wanted to not apologize for what he heard, but I just said I wanted to apologize and give you some idea how many presentations we'd had and what the time was gonna take, and he said, Linda, I could have left right after our presentation. He said, it was so good to hear your departments give those kind of updates and provide that information. He said, everyone he really enjoyed, and he, talked about each one and made comments about each one. But he said, so much to learn about the health department and some of the things, that have happened and transitioned and the things they were working through. And then he said, he expected, with the IT director, here's gonna be a dry one, And he said Al was so entertaining and did such a good job in his. And then he had mentioned, he leaned over to Kathy, as he does her well, and said, something to the effect that now she's got to follow that, here's the person. And then he said, then I listened to hers or watched hers, he said, and she had all those moving parts and the people moving around and setting up the foundations and stuff. And he just said, it was also entertaining, but a lot of good information. And he said he was so glad that he stayed and was able to attend the ones he did. So kudos to the staff, but I just thought too, it was great information. I know we got and thought it was long, but I just thought the fact that he sat through it, I was even surprised, thinking like he thought he had to until we voted on his item, and he said, no, if I would have left right away, they were good. And I said, well, there were several more. We do that for the month of December, and there were a lot of good ones that he didn't get to hear, but I just thought I'd mention his comments. Because it was a long meeting you missed last week.
It was, and you know what? I thought I lost my last three slides, and they come back. Want to see the last three? I'm gonna show them to you. I'm gonna make sure. I'm sorry.
No, I
We
just
could
gonna
do
say
that.
do
I couldn't figure out what happened.
Whoa,
Whoa.
you got a
Whoa.
shot?
I got shocked, yeah.
there's
Wow,
smoke
be
coming from your finger cord. Yeah.
Where's Metcalf?
Yeah, the button.
Well,
The snake probably
it's
listening.
turning.
There you go.
There it goes. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I apologize, but so ARPA was a big year for ARPA. We have about 80 projects that were submitted. Some of those I didn't work on this year, but it became a complicated year to allocate between what can be an ARPA expense category project versus replacement revenue versus how we're going to finish them all. So we spent a lot of time doing that, verifying all the SAM registrations for the contract holders, and the departments that had those contracts can tell you that that was an effort. Some of them, like a company subsidiary, submitted their contract bids, and then before we could let them work on our work, we had to go back and get the parent company so that we'd have the SAM information correct. But yeah, when you mention pictures, I do have some pictures of really exciting things that I know y'all wanna know about.
Yeah, don't wanna leave these out.
No, that's why I thought we have to look at these. So the sewer fence, you can see that the lagoon in Washburn, and also the signage that Gabby did a fabulous job designing. So we're all in compliance on those things now. These are even more exciting pictures. These are two of the new manholes at the lagoon, and that center picture is hard to probably follow, but those are valves in there, and those are the actual items that we were replacing. So I thought you would all enjoy seeing pictures of
All those are
that.
nice and neat.
Yeah.
Are those from your personal Instagram account that you?
Well, no, I haven't posted them yet, but maybe I should do that.
Yeah, year-end reporting.
Okay, now I really.
Alright.
Thanks, Corey, be careful.
Hey, this is Chris. Linda's comments just kind of gave me an idea that maybe we should take all the, capture the video out of all these presentations and send those all to our legislators to really give them a sense of what, county government is doing, since there seems to be a really big disconnect in their understanding. Not necessarily our, any particular legislators or our local ones, but just generally across the board. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good resource for them to see.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought it would be kind of a good roadshow anyway, if we want to take any parts of that or able to do it with just even the public and enlightening people, but yeah, no, I think our legislators would probably need to be a first audience. Thanks, Chris.
Alright. We'll move to item 4.
Once Gabby gets that done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabby.
Enjoy break.
No, not that. Do enjoy.
We'll move to item 4, resolution on claims and payments. The Board of Supervisors approve expenditures with the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue payments against the various settlements of such claims as allowed.
So moved.
Second. Ms. Wheaton?
All right, our board payment list today, we have $727,842.75 total. The 60/40 fund is $3,791.84, and that does include a little bit larger payment for Permar and then MediaCom and Mid-American Energy, so that's a little bit higher than typical. And we are, another exciting day today, we are making the final payment today to Farber Specialty Vehicles for the mobile health clinic. We had some warranty items that we wanted them to clear up before we made the final payment. So that's $385,522. And the health department is having Merry Christmas. They also got their 3 vehicles that were included in the capital improvement program. So that's $82,990.15 to Rydell. And those are the only large significant payments today. Everything appears to be in order.
Do you have any questions? Otherwise, entertain, or we got the motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Kurttenbach,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes. Item 5, receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, engineer. Our bridge crew is pouring the first slab for our main bridge next year, and that will be at Oxley Road. We are also cutting brush on Pointer Road, and we've had about 700 tons of salt delivered over the last few days, probably finishing up with that today. And then next week, I will be talking to you about the Washburn Drainage District. Can I answer any questions?
Where's the salt come from?
So we buy it through the DOT contract, and generally, I believe it's been coming from Nebraska, or I want to say Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vendor through the Iowa DOT that we receive it from, and I believe it's different than last year. So I believe last year it came from Nebraska, but I know there's a lot of salt mines in that state, so I think that's where most of it comes from, in the Midwest here.
Interesting. Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
Amanda Fesmeyer, HR Director. Just a couple things. So our Weldings platform that the board authorized to be implemented begins January 1st. So we sent out a couple emails about that and excited for that platform to be available to employees. It's to everyone regardless if you're on our health insurance or not. So you might be some information on that, but that comes out January 1st. In time for New Year's resolutions. It's our wellness platform, kind of an advanced version. So there's, again, about 1,200 courses on nutrition, mindfulness, physical health, emotional health, wide range of things. So we're excited to get that kicked off. Also, speaking about wellness, we have our last focus group scheduled. This is with all the others that indicated they were interested in participating in a focus group. We did 3 of them with the sheriff's office. This will be all the other departments. And that's gonna be scheduled on January 15th. And then at that point, I am putting into our budget, or at least somewhere, want to address what that wellness platform cost looks like to have a wellness incentive program. I have asked other counties and cities and collected information. It definitely ranges as to kind of what you want in that plan. And right now, I would say on the low end, it's anywhere from $15,000 a year for a third party to manage that, upwards of $60,000 plus. That's if you have like health coaching, I would say, as a big part of your component, where you have dedicated health coaching services. So at least that's what I'm learning. It's gonna be kind of a little bit of a shot in the dark with what that estimate looks like. I'm gonna do the best I can. And then, of course, if we get approval to move forward from the board, we'll get our RFP out and actually see what that cost looks like to implement a wellness incentive plan. So there are some that do it in-house. I am looking at that as well, but I prefer that it kind of be, well, we can explore that with the group that will kind of look at those bids and those options. But yeah, so lots to hopefully come with that, and looking at possibly implementation in midway through fiscal year 27 with rewards coming fiscal year 28, but that's a lot to be worked out yet with wellness incentive plan. So, and that is one that we'll have to discuss with the union, public safety union, as it is supplemental, especially if you're gonna have additional income, which the survey showed we had about half of the employees participate in that. PTO, or paid time off, is what ranked highest as a reward incentive, but you still saw the health insurance premium kind of reduction, or cash money was also ranked high as well. So either way, we're gonna have to talk about that, which next year we'll be looking at wages anyway, so it'll be a good time to kind of have that discussion if we continue to move forward with this and have an idea of where we wanna start. And I am gonna try to encourage that we start small, don't try to do too much all at once, and make sure that's something that we can sustain. But we've got a lot of examples of how other communities have done it, so I think we'll be successful with that. Couple other trainings, we have our annual drug and alcohol test, or reasonable suspicion training coming up next month, so appreciate all the departments for signing up supervisory staff. There's a refresher course and then a new manager course, so we're getting that. We've also coupled that with a training on ADA and FMLA for managers, so looking forward to that. You may have seen an email about a writing workshop for MLK Day of Service, so we're partnering with, her name's Raina from the public health team. She's serving in kind of an intern volunteer role right now, and this was something that she participates in the 5th grade pen pal program, and kind of extended this opportunity that we would write letters to a senior citizens in a local nursing home facility. So anyways, you may see information on that, but that's going out, and we've had a lot of people sign up, so thanks to everyone that is participating in that event. So a lot kind of going on towards the end of the year. Just also a reminder, we have our board alignment facilitation session next Tuesday, the 30th. I sent an email about just trying to figure out a date for the 2nd and 3rd meeting. The second one I'd like to get scheduled just because we have to let all the department heads know when that is, because that's supposed to include the department heads with the consultant, and then the 3rd one is just the board again. So, but otherwise you guys can talk about it on the 30th and try to find a date that works too. Any questions at all about stuff going on? Oh, I have one last thing.
Location for that VA for all 3?
Sorry,
Location.
that's a good
Or no,
question.
I'm
I
just
think
curious.
the basement conference room might be, but I haven't thought about location yet, but maybe VA wouldn't be a bad spot. That's where all the leadership training was.
Doesn't matter, I just wondered if
Yeah.
that was available, or that's what you were thinking, so.
I think for at least the first meeting, it was just gonna be at the courthouse, but if you prefer to go out to VA, I can check with Yolando and
Well, it's just the 5 of us and Ted, right?
Right,
For the most
so-
part, so.
kind of figured, I have the basement conference room reserved for that one. But for the one with all the departments, we might want to, I'll talk to Yolanda about reserving, that space, so, yeah. Compensation board, I just wanna make a note, we're starting, I know that's changed with last year, so that comes to the board of supervisors to be evaluated for elected officials. So we are working on collecting that data, and I guess anticipate that would be when we talk about all salaries, but if you have, we'll get the information out to you as to where we compare with the top 10 counties, and if you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out, but we'll probably try to get that shortly after the first of the year. Any questions?
No, excellent.
All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Budget begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shortly.
Influence.
Yeah.
All right, any other department heads in the room or online? Seeing none, we'll move to the minutes approval for the December 16th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, the consent agenda. The items listed below will be acted upon by a single resolution without separate discussion unless someone from the board or the public requests that a specific item be considered separately.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Kurttenbach,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes. Item 8A, motion that the travel request submitted by Justin Brandt, County Supervisor, be approved and to direct the chair to sign for same the cost of $426 to attend ISAC statewide supervisors meeting in Des Moines on January 29th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstain?
I'll abstain, I suppose. Thank you, guys.
You got it. Item 8B, motion to direct the county auditor to advertise for a public hearing and bid opening to be held at 9:05 on January 13th, 2026 in boardroom 201 of the Blackhawk County Courthouse, 316 East 5th Street, Waterloo, Iowa, to open bids for the proposed purchase of steel to be used in the construction of project L3011 Oxley Road Bridge, number 74825.
So moved.
Second.
Board, I just told you that we started building the beams for this bridge. We were unsure of how we were going to build the abutments. We've been working with a consultant on that. And they have now provided some direction to us. It's a little bit unique abutment due to the fact that there's bedrock I believe each side of the bridge has different depths of bedrock. So we wanted a consultant to help us with the design, therefore we weren't sure how much steel we needed. So now we know that, so now we are going out to bid on that, for that steel.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks.
Item 8C, discussion of possible board action for the FY26 community service funds.
Well, I know you mentioned whether or not we take any action, we could discuss or do whatever. And, I know the last time we talked, I think we looked at the top 10. That didn't mean that had to be a way we did, but if we did the 10, and I think the way we discussed it then was possibly, well, we did a couple things. You had I don't know what your formula, did you do a formula of how you calculated? I didn't ask, I should have asked you yesterday. Or if it was just the way when you went through and did your own personal.
Yeah, that was just basically
Okay.
personal. It was, the top ones were what they were asking, and then trying to come up with consistent dollar amounts for those asking for more, and then peaking out the ones at the lower rates, lower end.
And so I knew there was riches, and we talked about the 10,000 per, doing it that way, and I threw together a couple of other options, just so we could at least take a look and see, because I said the one thing, I think I mentioned it last time when we met, that I liked so much about what we did. We went to a lot of work, obviously, but to put together the criteria, and also a scoring matrix, and I think you even added to that after Michelle, a different scoring portion to that formula to make it better. And the one thing I really liked about it was that we were subjective in our choices as we went through and scored. It was very objective when we came up with the numbers that we did. And also the fact that there were some small and large, it was kind of a mix of everybody, but it also was new ones as well as ones that had been to the party before, so to speak, that had been to it. And I did this just rough, just so we had something to look at it, and why don't I just give it to you, so you each have one to look at, because it's not that I'd want to use it, I was just doing it from a possibility from a scoring matrix, just to see what it was. Here, maybe like something too. But these were just two additional ways, and the first was everyone getting the same percentage based on their, so that it added up to the 100,000 at the allocation. So what their request was versus that kind of a formula. And then you could just see, and this is, like I said, this was just to give everybody an idea, because I thought definitely we'd want Michelle to look at scoring and how that was correct, and she probably had great numbers in there, but also the fact that my addition and stuff was correct. So I just threw that in there. But the second one was really my preference if we were looking at different ways to do it. And it was the fact that we looked at the total scores of those top 10, and then based on what their individual score was, that would be the percentage they'd receive of the funding. But that's just me and looking at ways to, like I said, there's different ways to do this, and there's certainly additional ways we can look at it. I was just trying to think of how we did it. One thing, and I know Chris is very familiar with this, you are a little bit too, is we, in previous years, we've, to me, done the nonprofits a disservice that we sit here and personally dissect them, what they should get, or here's a number I throw out and you like or dislike that, and so somebody disputes that. I think all of the ones that apply do a great job, probably some better than others, but I just think everybody works hard to do what they're doing for our community, and when we have our personal preferences and we discuss those openly, it to me is skewed by each one of us, because we all have our own personal preferences. So to me, the more objectively we could do some kind of a scoring mechanism that we agreed to and that we liked as the 5 of us, or 3 of 5 or whatever, but the better, and then just apply the formula and result in scores, a final score for funding. So that was really my thinking and getting us to the next step. And it wasn't that any of my ideas were better, just that here were some other options, and there certainly are more out there that we could look at and consider, but it was just seeing the dynamics of scoring and that they work, well in different situations, whether it's a percentage of what they ask. I was one, as I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago too, you could give them all, well, you could give each one of these 100,000 and they'd use it. So it's not like there are some in there that wouldn't. That's why I said I preferred one method over another of everybody getting something, not really what their request was, because I've seen, like I say, sitting on a couple of boards where they've done this and they've kind of graded and then scored people. I've seen businesses then or nonprofits come to the party with the highest request they can make, because then they expect to get something of that or a little lower, rather than looking at what a need would be. I've been very fortunate also to sit on groups where I've seen them want everyone in the room, the nonprofits that participate, especially the food and shelter group. They want everybody to have something, and they recognize everybody's worth, and they're doing their best job that they can. And so they try to be very realistic with each of their requests so that everybody comes. And that's where I first learned it. I think I saw one of the organizations come and want the higher amount each time to say, I've got the bigger need, so give me more money. And I thought that was a learning curve for me. So it was just like a fair way and equitable way is what I'd usually like to see us do. So that was a more fair.
Yeah, I think we've got some fine tuning on our process. I think to help alleviate some of that is being really clear on our rubric. I think we should have, I feel like we should have categories that we fund. X amount towards food and shelter, X amount towards, and then have folks apply based off of, there's effectively kind of 4 categories of applications at that point. Even if it's the same application, they're sort of measured against others within that silo. I think the other thing to help alleviate, because I've reviewed grants as well, and you do start to notice some will increase their requests because they know it's gonna get brought back down, and so, right, and it's understandable, that part of the process, I think having that be having their score directly impacted by that sort of stringent review of their need, or of that request, and don't just throw out a large dollar amount thinking it's gonna get brought back down. Also just saying, there's a max. If we're gonna put $100,000 into a fund, yes, of course, any organization could use 50 or 75 or $100,000. I think it probably is best for us if we say there's a max award, if we intend to stay at or near that 100.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I mean, but yes, when you think of some did do 50,000 requests and we said it was
Half the
100.
pool.
Because they didn't know it, we did put that, in the application, so they're well aware of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and some, I think, I also saw that probably used almost the same application and just the same amount they request year after year too. So I know all of them could use it, like I said, operational, there probably isn't anybody there that couldn't use $100,000 and be a great year for them, but yeah, so you kinda have to scale it somewhere and in some way, but
So
I'm open to ideas.
you said on the second one, nobody told me it was math this morning.
Hey, no, you don't have to, that's why I just threw it in, that's why, and it's not necessarily accurate math. But I said I just taking the top 10 that we had.
Yep.
And the total scores, for this one would be like the total scores of those top 10 was the 3767.
Yeah.
Don't do math on me now, because you'll probably find it wrong, but this is to be checked later. But then, whatever the nonprofit's share was, whatever those scores were of the total score, gave them the percentage time 100,000 of what the award would be.
What I don't like about that is we have some that they gave us a specific number they were requesting, and this shows they'd be getting more than they requested.
Well,
So
and that's what I
that's
said,
kind of
yeah,
the
well, that's kind of like I said, with the, if we said everybody 10, that's great too, and they could all use 10, I'm sure, but that doesn't mean, like I said, that is. Then I did think though, just me selfishly, then you tell people to ask for the more, if that's the way we wanna distribute it,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that, if we could come to a mechanism that works
Yeah.
well without that, people asking more, thinking that it gets them more.
I do appreciate the idea of coming up with a defensible, sort of a logical, this was this is how we got here.
Yeah.
Some sort of formula, some sort of, I was sort of playing around, right, if you said, because there were 450 points available in the application, correct? Does that sound right?
Don't ask, I was gonna say, don't ask me, I went with their scores, so.
Yeah.
Times 5, I would.
All of our categories, we've combined all of those.
Oh, wait, yeah, we can
I
see
guess
that.
I didn't calculate that, I'll have to look.
Because that would give us, if there were 450 points,
Mm-hmm.
then it would give us two that were in the 90 percentile, or, 90% and up. There would be,
Well, there's 100 each. We each had 100, and then it was a combination of those hundreds.
Huh?
So I'm looking at it was, you had a combination up to 100 for each category that we ranked.
we have scores of 40. Oh, because that, I see. So it is a 500 because there's 5 super, that's how we got to
Yes.
418, for instance, for the highest, was because it was 418 out of 500 total points.
So it would
Okay.
be.
So it would be 500.
Okay.
And I kind of hit on what you were talking about, maximum. I made them recommendations last week was basically it was 15,000 was the max. So we could make sure we got money to all the top 10. And it was, I didn't have any multiplier to it, just
No.
looking at where they came in on the rankings and what their asking were.
Yeah.
We topped out, I think there was 2 of them we topped out. 3 of them, that was what they were requesting. 2 of them were getting what they requested. full amount.
But that's why the scoring or some kind of scoring
Yeah.
would help us, so to not weigh into who they are and what we each our personal view of some of those. And I know, Justin, you mentioned having a concern about some, and not that that couldn't still be a part of the conversation later or whatever too, but I just thought for what we do publicly, and yes, like having something that we say, this is how we do it, and so they all know.
So at that,
The scoring.
so taking that score, 418 out of 500 available points, for instance, for the highest score, 418 for House of Hope, that's 83%, right? My thought was we set a max, so say it's 50. Originally, I was thinking 20,000 max for the 90s, 15,000 max for the 80s, 10,000 max below that. If we were to keep that, we'd be able to fund for sure through number 15, a percentage of their max available. Now, their max available wouldn't be more than what they applied for.
And would the max be, are you thinking like there were some categories where there were 2 in the top tier?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
make sure there was like 2 in the,
Two
there
of
was
them
2 in
that's
the
over
top tier, and then there was.
But the rest were all
They've been
300s.
colored coded for us. There were 2 400s, 6 and over 350s, 2 over 325, and 7. I was
Sean,
just
I'm
doing
gonna
color
email
coded.
you a spreadsheet. Pop up on the screen if that's all right.
Wait a minute, we will.
I just that. So.
Takes a long time to get across
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
You wish it's.
Nope. All I said. Oh, that would be why. Not there anymore. I'll send it to your Blackhawk County one.
Oh, that might,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Uh-huh.
was thinking about it one, was I? That
It
might
does take a
help.
longer time to get
Yeah,
that.
well, it would take a real long time,
That's what it was.
that first email address.
I should have thought to look at it, I should have thought to talk about it. That's silly, isn't it?
See, what I'm thinking about tiers, we didn't determine tiers, so then do we,
Well,
well, now that we know how they are, and then you say, well, we want tiers, just.
I mean, I think it's ultimately up to board, it's always been up to board discretion on how we award the dollars.
It is, but it would make it much cleaner for them, I think.
Yeah, I think,
Understanding we have a metric, and we stay with it, with at least what we propose, it doesn't mean we can't change it
I
from
don't
year
know
to
that
year.
I don't know that we necessarily outlined how we would award this year. We didn't outline this.
Oh, no, this is the part of the funding part that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
different. No, I was gonna say, we did where they are as far as their scoring.
Oh,
We did that, because they actually got a copy of, well, they got a copy of the contract, but they also got a copy of this,
yeah,
of what we were gonna use, or what they used, I guess,
Yeah.
to look at how we were gonna do this.
that would be actually the one on the right. Oh, so that would,
Is that
Well,
cumulative?
that's cumulative.
Okay.
So what you're seeing there,
Oh, yeah.
House of Hope, Friends of Family, if we went off of that, 90% gets 20,000 max, 80% get 15,000 max, and 10,000 max after that. You'd be able to fund, again, you're maxing out boys and girls elevate, read it off of mine versus reading off of that screen. Boys and girls elevate operating threshold, Job Foundation, legal aid, and, well, all of the rest of those, they'd be maxed out at that 10,000. They wouldn't be able to, you're taking their percentage base off of their max, not off of their request. The request is, right,
Yeah, I almost value the request less than anything else, but that's me, just personally, because I'd say they all could benefit from $50,000.
correct.
They all could have put that, but yeah.
So you're granting to more than just the top 10?
It would get you to be able to fund more than just the top 10. We'd be able to for sure fund through the top 14 through Leader Valley. That would take us to 97. One city would take us down to 103, almost 104. Salvation Army, almost 110.
In one city, we're kind of
And we're already
quite a
doing
bit
some
of
dollars,
opioid
correct?
dollars in there, so, yeah,
Yep.
So
I don't know.
you're, okay, so I'm trying to look at this, what numbers are you saying then that would be the award? This,
The
Roll
far,
column C.
on these, not the far right, the second. There we go.
okay,
Yeah, because the one on the right is actually accumulating all of.
and that gets us up to the 100,000.
That would, yeah. For instance, if, 109, if we were to say we're gonna strike any that are currently receiving funds, granted, I think they are for different purposes, but you had mentioned one city is already receiving.
It was One City United, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because there is another
Oh, yes,
organization,
Yeah, they
I wanna make
receive
sure we weren't
opioid funds.
confusing the two.
they're receiving opioid funds.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume they will.
I mean, their score is also so close. Right. Salvation Army is .03.
I generally like what you're proposing.
It feels like it gets us to fund more entities with a good chunk of dollars,
Less dollars for some, but yeah.
less dollars for some. I mean, it would be less dollars for almost all. Now,
So what's the criteria again that we're using for like expanding or for the scoring? Like to say these are the ones we're going to select, so that.
it's based off of their score.
No, I just meant though, like, not just now, but going forward, I just meant when they have the scores that we don't adjust that, or maybe we do, we adjust that every year to the number we want. When like I said, we were at 10, let's say we were at 10, and we're
But I
gonna
don't think
change
we
it
ever
to
said that we
14.
wanted to be.
No,
at
we
10.
don't have to be,
Yeah.
that was just when we looked at top 10 and said
Sure.
this could be where it would be. But is there a score that we'd like to see that then anything above?
I think that could.
I just meant.
It's
to make
always
it-
hard because
It is hard,
if you have a year where
That's
you
fine.
get, let's say, 20 applications.
that won't happen until.
I can't imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until Karen wins that 1.7 billion Powerball and donates a bunch of money back to orgs.
That won't stop it.
That also won't stop.
I know, I just meant trying to just make it a process that works, and it's not like this year it's the top 10 and the next year it might be the 14 and that we're not being subjective about it, that it's like, well, because we are now looking at who they are and seeing that and making those changes. That's all, I'm just trying to get away from that, just being an objective mechanism that I know other organizations do. There's always gonna be some subject to it, but
Yeah,
just to be
even
clear.
our current scoring, like if we were truly not subjective, we would have redacted organization names.
Well,
Right, like,
we can, I guess, when you're subjective, if you wanted to, I guess you could.
Yeah.
You score them
You score
as you
them.
want to.
Correct.
That's up to each of us as individuals.
Yeah.
If there was some you wanted to give a 0, then you'd be there.
Yep.
But that's what I like about it, if that's what we wanted to do, if there were some that we felt that way, you do it because it's still a collective by the 5 of us,
Well, we had one one that requested funds that I didn't feel was appropriate them asking us for the funds. They had another area that they should be asking, not from the board of supervisors, community funds. So taking away their names is not necessarily, I think, in the best interest either.
Yeah.
No, I mean, though, but you could score them accordingly if you thought they deserved a 0 or you
Yeah,
wanted
I
a
did.
0 because of that, that
Yeah, I
each
did.
can do that, so
Yeah.
it is without coming out and saying,
Yeah.
I scored them 0. It's done.
David said, okay, so that comes up to what you have there in the reward, about 109,000 then?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this amount.
So if we drop the maximum from 15 to 14 and those 10s to 9, would that get us closer to the 100,000?
You said 15 to 14.
Yep. And the 10s to 9.
Yeah. That'd take you, I mean, within $695 if. I'm gonna wait to be confirmed. Professional.
But you can take the
I'm sure
percent.
you are getting it right, I'm just,
No, I think, yeah, you just take, if those are percentages you wanna play with, that's the part where I say Michelle messes with the 100,000 figure and you come up with the dollar amounts, we're not off that much, but.
I could go with that, even if it's over by the 600.
But we budgeted 100,000.
Well,
Yeah, I prefer to stay at 100 just because,
We did.
well, I guess
$100.
it's simply because that's what we budgeted
That's
for.
what we
And
did,
then,
yeah.
like, and I know it's only $600, but then other things come up and then it's only this much over and then it becomes a habit for us maybe.
so if we rounded them off at hundreds instead of the dollars after,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's what I meant, you're talking about percentages now, whatever Michelle can come up with making it work, it's like, we're
Yeah.
just talking small percentages now, or small cents.
so
So many people's 100,000.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'd be a little over 6. You'd be taken off if you rounded it
You're
off.
trying too hard.
Well, I'm just
You don't
looking at
know.
numbers, I'm just looking at numbers, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there'd be issues with agencies requesting dollars as far as not liking the process? And even if there is, I don't wanna say who cares, but
No, but I mean,
Like-
we
like
put in a
this-
lot of work.
it's none that it's guaranteed either, so I would think that you'd be pretty grateful to get anything.
Well, and I think that's what other counties do as well, they thank everybody for their, requesting the funding and say it's no reflection on any of them at all. It's just, yes, this was what we did, this is how it worked for us this year, this is how we scored it.
Do
And
the
this is
cities,
amount.
the cities themselves don't do anything like this, do they, for community funding? As far as you guys know?
they have in the past, but it's been not continuous, I know they've had some monies out there for projects and different things that came to the city.
Not like this though,
But not like
not where
this.
we do open out the window for funding requests, they don't do that.
I've never
Not
heard cities do it.
specifically for nonprofit, for instance, hotel motel dollars, we do a grant process. Waterloo and Cedar Falls both do grant processes for events. Yeah,
That's where I see some of these things that impact specific groups of people within specific cities, Waterloo, Cedar Falls, et cetera, that it would seem to make sense that the cities would have some buy-in with some of this, as opposed to, or in addition to the county.
yeah, looks like Michelle, rounding actually gets us
Worse.
further away.
No, I'm saying like the
Take 100,000.
11,
I don't mean.
I'd
yeah,
have to
the
like,
first one's 11,705, just make it 11,700.
run it off.
I did that first and
And that
it
still
didn't
gets
make
you-
any
it
difference.
gets you the-
It actually
It
went,
gives you 1,600, I think.
It went up to-
1,800.
I got it down to 100,800 using that technique. We'd have to like subtract 100 from everybody or 50
No,
or
that's still not doing it the way I'm thinking that.
at least those. I mean, I can figure something out.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's, if you want this
No,
down,
I know to
if
do
you
it
want
here.
it down to
No,
100,000
I know.
and you want it prorated, I will find a way.
We can,
Yeah.
well, we can vote on it next week. I mean, we can get the percent of that and have it done.
Yeah.
That's if we just are okay with the method. That's why I just thought today it was just throwing this stuff out to say like, what would you like to do?
One thing I would throw out there though,
Yeah.
I look at Success Link, and I know that they, if you're not familiar with them, they do so much for so many organizations that are just getting started. And so I think they don't have a large ask, but being able to help an organization like that with even a fraction of what they're asking, I think goes a long way with them. And I think what they're at 17 in terms of ranking score.
Yep. Remember?
Yeah, so I don't know. Perhaps there's a little bias there for me
There
too,
is
just
for
being
us.
familiar
Yes.
with what
Yeah.
they're doing.
And there would be, I mean, there's a justification because their score is at least over 300.
I know. But I think we all have somebody like that we'd probably wanna pull,
Sure.
we'd love to pull up,
Yeah.
just because of, yeah, like you said, there's a bias, but there's some I wish had been higher, and, but, yeah, that is hard. I like to keep it in person. That's the unfortunate part. We had it up with 32 good, applicants that we know are working hard in the community to help people, but it's like, until she wins the lottery or we do or something,
Sure.
yeah. We can go.
Draw out of a hat.
What?
Yeah, draw straws.
Yeah, that's what we do
We're
next
back to
year.
that joke,
It
huh?
would save us a lot of time. Oh, it'd save a lot of time.
Full
But we
circle.
did. Well, like I said, I really did like the fact that, I know it was hard on everybody because it took a lot of time, but it was, I really liked that we all 5 did it and
Yeah.
participated and got the scores we did, so.
I mean, that would put us,
It's just that we got 32, with opioids, we end up with 4, and so, how nice, it's such a large number. 32 is
like I said,
a lot of needs, but there are a lot of those, and I should look and compare. There are some with the Metro funders, probably most of these, and they can't do everybody either, but they,
Sure.
like I said, there's, pick and choose.
yeah, I mean, there's, those dollars are Metro funders, local philanthropy, philanthropy, I still can't do it, groups, right, they're pulling dollars wherever they can, I think. Us getting us fine tuning our process, I don't think we should hold ourselves be too harsh on ourselves in terms of it's sort of been elite just to get to this, to where it's been the last few years,
Yeah,
right? And I think now it's a matter of how do we fine tune, where do we wanna go, do we want pillars of dollars, do we want,
Michelle, if you punch these numbers in, I think I got it right at 100,000. Where you got the 11, 7, 10.
Would you like the computer? I mean, come on, you
No,
guys.
I think it's
I'm
okay to
just gonna
really-
say, cause it comes right out at 100,000.
There are ways I can get you there, right?
She knows, yeah,
Didn't
I
really
think it's just that we look at it next week,
necessary
what
to-
the numbers are, and then we'd have it
Right
right
now.
now. And we don't. I mean, I don't see an urge to do it today when we do have next week
No,
meeting, so.
yeah, I
that's
think it
all
would be
I'm-
good though to give staff
See
direction of what we want to have presented so we can have, a vote next week.
Oh, yeah.
And not,
And the-
I don't necessarily wanna come to next week's meeting and have three options of what we could do, and that
No,
gets
I
us
thought
as far
that's
as we
kind of
are
what
here.
we're doing here.
I think if we've got an instruction, if there's a motion for an instruction on how to proceed, and again, this was This is just an idea that I don't want to get too hung up, because there's official news.
And
We'll see her elsewhere.
I know, no, those were, yeah. That's why I said you could ask a million ways probably and come up with a million formulas, but I just thought I liked us doing where the direction we were going, instead of just trying to discuss your favorites and my favorites and all of us have favorites.
Are we
I think
generally,
one-
go ahead.
What do you?
So I think one thing it would be good to determine is, do you want to set a score limit? Like, do you want to give funds to everybody that's at more than 300 rounded, or? I think Davis almost got there except for
Yeah.
success line.
Yeah, and I would be in favor of, that seems like a natural place to be at. That would be everyone with a passing grade effectively.
Which one?
If we went everybody over 300, out of 500, that would be everybody with at least 60%. These get degrees, I'm a testament to.
And that's,
And-
I hate to say it, but we're moving One City United from it, since we're funding them differently.
I think that's up to the,
I don't know, I'm just asking the question because doesn't.
So, I just wanna touch on that real quick, just to make sure I'm understanding. With One City, they've got Momentum and then the Recovery Cafe, and so what they applied for through opioid was to support the Recovery Cafe, right?
yeah.
I thought
So
it was a
no-
mix of both. Was it?
Well-
I think it was both.
Honestly, it was very difficult to tell. I believe they actually applied for momentum, but then a lot of the budgetary stuff kept talking about the Recovery Cafe, so I don't know what.
Okay.
I think the staffing was for both. I think what I read in it was there was a percentage of staffing costs for the cafe as well as, Momentum. And so that's,
Okay,
but, yeah.
so if we get hard clarification on that, then we'd have the ability to demand, I guess, let's say we did fund One City for Momentum,
Mm-hmm.
reference this, then we could say this money has to be towards Momentum, right? And then the opioid funding would have to be, I'll get clarification from Dean today as far as what exactly, since there is confusion on that
Sure.
opioid application.
I think all of these get a contract, if you wanna maybe speak to what that process, once an award is granted, can you maybe, Michelle, speak to the next steps that we issue? Contracts and,
Well,
And Mike,
Mike should address that.
What was the contract question?
so once an award is made, can you just sort of speak to what's next? Once we make a,
Yeah, so once we do it, we go ahead and draft the contract. Usually somebody, I don't know if Michelle, if you handle it, somebody from the board office has handled getting, communicating directly with the recipient to get that contract signed, we sign it. The contract usually permits, if we want, or even has required it, that we send invoices on a regular basis. We found that was not what we really wanted to do, so we changed it to be, or that they send us invoices, So what we've changed it to be in the past is quarterly or even less.
No.
But-
Okay, maybe I should do this. I would like you to talk about the scope. We take the application and we draft a scope that we insert in the contract.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what Davis is probably.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's okay, that's okay.
you said what steps are next.
I know how to, then we've tried to do a reimbursement basis. We do try to limit those, especially these are, in our scheme of things, small amounts of money. There's a lot of, I don't think anyone appreciates how much staff time goes into looking at that. So, we're trying to be somewhat efficient with paying them and still comply with the state auditor's documentation requirements. So, yeah, but I think what you're really talking about is the drafting the contract, and it's the scope we try to take from the application they turned in, because
Exactly.
because that should be what they get money for, that's what they requested it for.
And typically, when we've got a spreadsheet listing what those public purposes are that those organizations work to advance, we put that in the individual contracts, the appropriate ones in each contract.
So,
I think I don't know, we'll figure out, maybe I'll do two different options. One, adding Success Link going down to the 300, unless you're all agreed that you wanna do that.
This is Chris. I would, just to be able to give a little bit more significant amounts, I would leave it just these top 15. But
I know it starts to dilute, the amount some get by quite a bit, But
It will, it takes you down to the 300, that's all it does.
Oh.
It's immaterial, whether,
I see.
doesn't
I see.
matter. So we can do either way, or I can try to
But if
put
we-
together something showing both.
Are we still thinking that one city was asking for the same thing that they were asking for these paid dollars or not? That's what you think you'll find out today?
Well, we'll find out today.
Because if that's the case, then
Change the.
maybe take one city out and then add in Success Link.
I think we need to use the application they turned in.
yeah, it says on here momentum, but I was gonna say the opioid one has both, that's I think a mix of both, it wasn't just for momentum, so. But I remember the staffing of it was for the manager positions or
Well, it
whatever.
was a certain
included both.
percentage of them, so
Yeah.
you can, what they're working on, I guess you don't know, but.
But there again, that would be a contract and they'll have to,
So this
Verify.
specifically does say momentum.
oh, does it on the app, I was gonna say the
Project
summary
name.
does, or the
The project
overview does
name
for it.
that they turned in.
Yeah.
For this funding does say momentum.
Well, if we need a motion, I'd move to, include everything with a 300 passing score and above.
is that for instruction for staff to, or is that, for an actual vote? I think if we're just gonna do staff instruction, we don't necessarily have to do a motion, but if you wanna do,
Okay.
but if you want it to be a motion and an action taken, then.
No, it doesn't matter.
Look at it and come back next week and finish it. It's kind of,
Okay,
after we see it.
fair enough.
I'm fine.
Then James, you could email me that spreadsheet you had. I like the way you came up with that multiplier on that.
Well, that's what I said, the multiplier that, Michelle will have to have in there or whatever, so we'll see it, sure.
Future use.
Clear as mud?
300.
Yeah, 300, I think.
You want to get to 100,000.
100,000, yep, and 300 for the number, yeah.
You want me to switch back?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Please.
How quickly can you do it?
Yeah. Well done. I mean,
I think perhaps, I know Chris had asked, if we were to just do the top 10 is what Chris said.
Yeah,
So maybe prepare for next week, 2 options of the funding at 300 and up, for the 300 scores.
I have wrote down that he said top 15, so you might want to clarify.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, the top 15
Oh,
is what I
15,
said.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, okay,
Just
okay.
the top, yeah.
Which if we take out one
We're gonna
city,
be
that
close.
would be up to 50.
Michelle, just out of curiosity, I know it's probably not fair to even ask you this. If you guys had to estimate how much staff time is related to community funding, dealing with that stuff, how much do you think that is? Cause I never thought about that until you said that, and I'm sure it does take.
Interesting is it really depends. Some of the organizations are more experienced at sending you things than others, so
Yeah.
But, you know, I would bet over the course of last year was, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 hours to get them all processed and paid. And that was trying to limit them to pretty much to one payment.
Right.
It's, again, it's,
Looking at our list, it does feel like there's a little bit more familiarity with grant
and I think
processes
that's what
with
it's
this
different
list.
every year.
Yeah, and I can think of a couple examples that I know were much more labor intensive to walk them through processes just because I hadn't
Yeah,
done
and I
it. And
and I didn't even probably count all that time,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to get to an average, but.
and the tricky thing is that those organizations are also really close to the communities that they serve. And so
Right.
there's
It's not that
they
they're not
are also-
providing a good service.
Yeah, it's, and on some level, it probably sets them up even better for the future. The amount of work that Michelle and staff have helped them through the process, just to get them to exercise a muscle that they would have otherwise had to.
Right, I think, yes, there've been a couple that have learned a lot from
Yeah.
this.
And they come back, so they,
And us too.
so they do well.
Shouldn't slap hands real hard.
No, we make taters from that. The chair, I should
It was
say.
fun. It was fun. All right. Well, do we have any reports from the board?
If you wanna report on a tour I took last Friday, I sent you all an email this morning right before the meeting started. Thrive Now Recovery Centers is opening a new facility in Cedar Falls. The building was originally built to be a elderly assisted living, and they've formatted the building to serve as recovery center. I don't know if anybody's been there or talked about it, I sent the information out. If you've not had a chance to visit with them or go to a visit, I would highly recommend it. I don't know a lot about how this process works, but I did learn some things while I was there with some nurses that were there also from Supervisors County. So all I can say is it's.
Other locations around the state, or are they somewhere?
Yeah, there's, they have one in Iowa City and one in Pleasant Hill as well. This will be their third, and it's due to the need that they're changing their direction with this facility.
Thrive Recovery
Yes.
Club. Is it, what are they, recovery for, like drug recovery?
It's both alcohol and drug.
Okay.
They had a memory area that was being developed for the assisted living. And that area is now gonna be mostly all of the recovery. And then they have other uses, I guess, for the other parts of the building as well, in plans, so,
The inpatient type?
yes.
Nice.
30
So it
day,
isn't housing anymore, it's just
no,
been.
30 day, or as needed. So, it's the first time I've been in something like that, so it's very interesting learning process and then also learning with the nurses there from Supervisors County that deal with this every day. So, other than that, just wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Merry Christmas.